My name is Donna Simmons, and I will tell you just a little bit about me. And that is that I've been doing this work for a little bit under 30 years. I came originally from a dance and exercise background, primarily teaching other professionals how to be good teachers. And so it was a very natural transition for me when I discovered the Feldenkrais method back in 1981 or 82. It made a lot of sense to me because I remember I was teaching at one of the first aerobic fitness and dance instructors conventions in Pleasanton. And this was a master class, and there were approximately 150, maybe 175 people in the class. And I gave the first 10 phases of the choreography, the 10 first steps of the choreography, and they were doing it, and I went over to look at my notes, and then I went like this, and the first 2 rows went like this. And I thought, something happened there that I hadn't planned. And so to test it, I gave the next few phases of the choreography, and I went like this. And at the time, my hair was pretty short, so it was pretty easy to see that I was doing this, and the first 5 rows incorporated this movement. That made me think something's missing. We do so much in our lives to fit a model, to become fit, to stand erect, to be healthy and strong. And yet, we don't pay a lot of attention to our own inner dialogue, to our own inner sensibility. We have a tendency to think that some external model is what we want to strive to attain, instead of taking that as a template or an idea and then listening to our own organization and our own abilities, our own capacities, and being satisfied with what we can do. This brings me to the Feldenkrais method. In Feldenkrais, it's not a closed system. Feldenkrais is a dynamic, biologic, psychologic, and social teaching system. We look at our biomechanics, the muscles, the skeleton, the tendons, the ligaments. We look at our relationship to our culture, our society, an external relationship. And we look at the content, the person, the individual life's experience. Somebody asked, how does this compare to, say, yoga, or to a dance class, or to a fitness class? And I'm the first one to say that when I was teaching fitness, I was a very controlling instructor. I would say to my students, do it this way because this is the way I want you to do it. These are closed systems. I'm not criticizing them as being good or bad. But in yoga in particular, we have a form that we want to attain. And we practice and practice and hope to attain that particular form for a lot of benefit. This is a closed system. In Feldenkrais, there is no form. Your anatomy and your own experience are the guides. It's not about attaining a particular form. There's not a way to do it right. There's not a way to do it wrong. There's not an expected way for it to be done. The Feldenkrais method was created by his namesake, Moshe Feldenkrais, who was a physicist, an Israeli physicist. And he started this work in the late 40s. He was also a very accomplished martial artist, and he suffered pretty severe injury to his knees. In the 40s, when you had those kind of injuries, you were told that you could not walk again, and certainly not come back to doing martial arts. He started to do this method of being introspective and creative, and he was able to continue to do martial arts for a very long time until he was in his mid-60s, early 70s. The Feldenkrais method has 2 modalities. The modality that you'll experience today is called awareness through movement. These are verbally guided movement sequences based in pretty much developmental movements, movements that we do throughout the course of our day-to-day activity. The secondary mode aspect, or the secondary part of Feldenkrais, is called functional integration. And this is a hands-on conversation between the practitioner and the client. And here, the sequences are very soft and gentle. They can be based, again, in developmental movements. They're very individualized. And some practitioners, myself included, support the functional integration sessions, which are usually about an hour, with what I call home play, which would be like a little mini awareness and movement lesson that you take home and do on your own. One of the primary differentiations in Feldenkrais in terms of the hands-on work is that we always want to relate the session to things that are part of your day-to-day activity. So if you spend a lot of time sitting at a computer, as opposed to a person who is very physically active, say a person who does gardening or landscaping, what your needs are in terms of your day-to-day activity are going to be significantly different. How many of you have had experience with Feldenkrais? Barely?
So long ago.
So long ago. All right. So the ground rules for you are, whatever you're doing, make sure that you feel comfortable. If at any point something that you're doing elicits discomfort, pain, or you simply don't like doing it, please don't do it. Likewise, if I'm asking you to do something and I'm moving on to another part of the movement and you're still interested in that particular aspect, keep doing it. It's really okay. The main thing is that you be comfortable with yourself. If you have any kind of physical limitation, if you have any kind of back issue, neck issue, shoulder issue, any kind of injury, or maybe today has just not been a good day for you in terms of your own physical organization, don't push through it. When you come to that edge of discomfort, back off of it. Last but not least, feel free to do the movements in your imagination. Many studies have shown that those things that we do in rich kinesthetic detail actually elicit a neurological response. This is something that we use a lot in the world of high-end athletic performance, where we do a lot of guided, interactive guided imagery work, and then the athlete does that particular function or exercise and find that there is improvement. So give yourself permission to do it in your imagination. So what I'd like to do is ask you to please stand for a moment. And stand on the floor. And the first thing we'll do is what in Feldenkrais we call a scan. And a scan is a way for you to gather information about the way that you are organized right now so that you can make a comparison at the end of the lesson. Please remind yourself there isn't a right answer, there isn't a wrong answer. I don't know is a completely valid answer. So without changing the way you are standing as much as possible, imagine that the bottom of your feet have been inked and you're standing on a nice piece of rice paper. Or perhaps you're standing at the edge of the ocean where the sand is firmly packed. Where are you leaving the most impression under your feet? Compare the right foot, the left foot, inside, outside. Just for yourself, where do you feel the most contact under your feet? And then in your mind's eye, go up a little higher. Where are your knees in relationship to your feet? Can you sense that your knees are more towards your heel or the instep or the front of the foot? Use your inner eye, keeping in mind that if you look down, you're going to change the relationship of the way you're organized. Come up higher to your pelvis. This is your hip bones, the curvature of the lumbar spine. Sometimes it's useful to imagine that your pelvis is like a bowl with some liquid in it, Where would the liquid fall? Would it stay? Is it more to one side, to the front, to the back? Are you breathing? Give yourself A+. You're halfway there. Come to your torso, your trunk, your spine, your ribs, your chest. And usually here it's a sense of, am I leaning forward or back? Am I making an effort to stay upright? What can you discern about the way you are organized right now? Come higher to your shoulders and your arms. Are your shoulders level? Is one rolled forward or back? What about the space between your arms and your torso? Can you sense where your hands reach on your thighs? And last but not least, how about your neck and your head? If you were to draw a plumb line from your chin, where would it hit in regard to your feet? And with your eyes closed, not to full range, turn your head just a little bit right and left, or left and right, and just notice the quality. Find a way to establish some reference point for yourself. How does it feel? Is it easier to go to one side or the other? Can you sense an echo of this movement down to your feet? And then leave it and select one or two things, or three, that will be easy for you to return to at the end of the lesson. One or two or three things about the way you are organized right now. And when you have it, please come to sit on your chair. Sit slightly forward so that your back is not supported by the back of the chair. Rest your hands on your thighs, and if you're comfortable with your eyes closed, take a moment to just notice the contact that you're making under your bottom. How much of you is giving in to the chair? Is one side more available to you than the other? And then go higher. What kind of shape does your spine have? And bring your attention to your head and your neck. What do you notice here? And are you breathing? It's one of our traits that as soon as we pay attention to something or we're learning something new, we have a tendency to hold our breath. With your eyes closed, very carefully and gently, begin to tilt your head downward as if you were able to look underneath the chair up to yourself. You don't need to go to full range. Go down with your head and come back up. So your head tilts forward as if you could look underneath the chair, and then it comes back up. As you do this, notice what you do with your eyes. So you're sitting upright, your chin goes down. It's a small movement of your head going forward, as if you could look under the seat, looking up. Observe what you do with your eyes. Is there any movement in your chest? Do only a few repetitions, coming back up to sittings upright. Pause. And make the movement very small. So it's just the beginning of bringing the chin down just a little bit and bringing the chin back up. So just your chin goes down a little bit and then it comes back up. What do your eyes do? What do you notice about your chest, your spine? And pause for a moment. Check in. If you would like to lean against the back of the chair for a moment so that you can rest, feel free. And notice your breath. And again, with your eyes closed, sitting a little bit to the front of the chair, begin to let your head go down just a little bit, but have your eyes also go down. So another way to think about it is your eyes are leading the movement. So your eyes look down and your head follows. Can you soften your chest? Can you let your upper ribs soften just a little bit and then come back up? So the eyes start the movement, your chin goes down, your head gets heavy, goes down, and those beginning ribs soften. There's no need to go all the way down so that your head is close to the legs. And then come back up. The next time that you do it, exhale as your chin goes downward. So inhale to prepare, eyes go down, exhale, head goes down, softening the chin, the ribs, and then slowly coming back up. And if you like, you can have your eyes be open in soft focus. So it's a way of having the eyes not really look. See if this helps you at all. So the eyes begin the movement. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, the eyes look down. Your head follows. Your neck softens. The upper ribs, the chest softens. Changing the shape of your upper spine. And coming back up. Is it easier for you to go down or to come up? And then leave it. Rest for a moment. If you can rest in sitting, rest in sitting. If you feel that you need to lie down, feel free to lie down for a moment. But even in your resting, have your attention softly paying attention. What do you notice? Come to sit at the front of your chair again, hands gently resting on your thigh. And just once or twice, let your head begin to go downward. And as you do that, eavesdrop on the shape of your spine. Again, try to exhale as you go down. Inhale as you come up, Exhale as you go forward. Inhale on the return. And if you can, see if you can exaggerate the curving of your spine so that the lower ribs press back against your spine. So this really looks like a slouching, a rounding of the spine. Stay in a range that feels comfortable to you. So be really clear with yourself that you are rolling down as if you could look under the chair and you're rolling back up. So it's a very specific kind of movement, softening and rounding the spine. No need to bring your head all the way to your lap. What happens to the contact under your bottom? Does it change? Is it easier for you to go down, or is it easier for you to return to upright? And pause. Gently and lightly turn your head just a little bit left and right. And just notice if there's any change in the quality. Is one side a little easier than the other? Avoid pushing through. Small range. And then leave it. Sitting slightly forward in your chair. Inhale and let your hands come up so that they are bent at the elbow, as if you were going to place your hands on a keyboard. Exhale the breath. And as you inhale, let your hands float up. And as you exhale, let them float down, as if your hands were paintbrushes. Inhale, let the arms float up. Exhale, let the forearm and the hands come down as if to rest on a keyboard. So the elbows remain bent. The arms float up and the arms float down. As if your hands were paintbrushes and you were just painting ever so gently. Or imagine that your hands are moving through warm, viscous water and coming down. Inhale as your arms go up. Exhale as the arms come down. The forearms move through space. They go up and down. And then rest your hands on your thighs and pause. Are you breathing? Just a couple of times. Let your head go forward as if to look underneath the chair and just see, is it any easier? Inhale on the way up, exhale on the way down. Have the movement be nice and small so that you can hear the quality. You can eavesdrop on the quality. And then bring your hands into this position of the elbows bent and the hands as if to rest on a keyboard. Inhale, let the hands float up. And as you exhale, let your hands go down. And once you have a rhythm with your own breathing, have your head simultaneously following the movement of your hands. So as the hands go down, your head goes down ever so slightly. And as your hands float up, your head comes up. So the movement is coordinated and it stays in a small range. Inhale on the up, exhale on the down. Can you soften your chest ever so slightly? What are your eyes doing? Even with your eyes closed, can you pay attention to what your eyes are doing? A reminder that you can take a break at any time before your arms become fatigued. Can you allow your spine to be so soft that it rounds into this slouching position? Is there a part of the movement that you like more than others? And pause. Take a rest. If you feel that you would be more rested by lying on your mat, feel free. Or if you're comfortable, leaning against the back of the chair. Whatever you need to do in order to know that you are taking a rest. When I was doing my Feldenkrais training and taking awareness through movement lessons, I used to find the resting periods oh so irritating and frustrating. I would say to myself, but I just want to keep doing these movements to find out something. And it was much later that I realized that it's really in the resting periods that your nervous system has an opportunity to integrate some of the new information. That the resting periods are just as important, if not more important, as the time that we spend doing movements. We have so little permission to rest in our day-to-day life. So once again, bring yourself to come to sit on your chair. Take a moment to have gravity have an effect on your organization. Sitting towards the front of the chair. Has anything changed for you in the way your bottom makes contact on the chair, or in your sensation of your spine, your neck, your head? Not to full range. Turn your head just a little, left and right, right and left. A little bit, slowly. Has anything changed for you? And if it hasn't, doesn't mean that you have failed. And then sitting like this with your hands resting on your thighs, turn your head just once or twice to the left and back to the middle. Notice how far you go, what it feels like. Turn to the left and back to the middle. The next time that you are at the middle, as you turn to the left, allow your right shoulder to come slightly forward and then back to the middle. So I would encourage you not to work at the end of your range. Make the movement small. So you turn to the left, come back to the middle. Your right shoulder goes a little bit forward as you turn left, and then it comes back to the middle. Are you breathing? Let your right hand slide a little bit over your right thigh as that right shoulder goes forward and back to the middle. Match the movement to your own breath cycle. Pause. And then once again, turning your head to the left, allow that movement to gradually expand to include the right shoulder. And let your eyes also go to the left and come back to the middle. If you're not sure what your eyes are doing with your eyes closed, have your eyes open with soft focus. And if it feels safe to you, as you turn to the left, not only let that right shoulder move forward, but let the right knee also move a little bit forward. So your right foot will probably also slide a little bit. So you're coordinating the movement of your eyes, your head, the right shoulder, right hand, right knee. Stay in a range that feels safe and comfortable to you. Pause in the middle. Take a breath. Turn your head a little left and right and just see, is there any change in the quality, in the way that you turn your head? And then pause. Rest against the back of your chair. And then bring yourself again to the front edge of your chair. Hands resting lightly on your thighs. And this time, turn your head a little bit to the right and just notice how you do it. Come back to the middle. And then gradually allow your left shoulder to come forward and back. How is it on this side? Is this your favorite side? Let your hands slide over the thigh. Give yourself permission to let that knee slide a little bit forward as you turn to the right and back to the center. And you might notice that as that left knee slides forward, your right hip moves back. Is that true for you? Can your eyes lead the movement? How far down throughout your spine can you trace this movement? Pause in the middle. And then sitting to the front of your chair, go once or twice in one direction and then once or twice in the other. So you turn to the left and the right shoulder and the right leg come forward. Then you come back through the middle. You turn to the right, the left arm, left shoulder, left leg. Go slowly enough that you can listen or eavesdrop on how this movement travels throughout your whole spine. Some of you look like you're going to full range. What happens if you make it a little smaller? Just once or twice so that you can gather some information. And if you're doing a movement in a really small and controlled way, would it be all right to let it go a little bit and have it be a little bit bigger? Turning your head, following the movement of your eyes, breathing. And then rest in the middle. Come once again to the front edge of your chair. And begin to let your head lower as if to look underneath. Do the movement once or twice, observing the shape of your spine. And after you've done the movement once or twice, coordinate the movement of your head with the movement of your arms, floating up and down like a paintbrush, softening your chest. Exhale on the down, inhale on the up. Is it easier? Be clear with yourself that your chin goes down, your ribs soften, your spine changes shape. Your head doesn't need to touch your thighs. Can you feel the lower ribs as they fan and press against your back? And then rest. Lightly turn your head a little left and right, just to observe how it is that you do it. Just once or twice. And then leave it and take a rest, whether leaning against the back of your chair or lying on the mat. In whatever way you are resting, just gather your attention. So whether you're on the floor or sitting or in whatever way you are resting, just gather your attention. Where does it go? Replay in your mind's eye any part of the lesson that you can remember. What it felt like. Were there any changes for you? Challenges? Any curiosity? And then slowly bring yourself to stand, and if at all possible, stand with your eyes closed, and just see how it is that you are organized now. Can you remember how you were? How much of you is the same? Do you have a different contact under your feet? The shape of your spine? Your shoulders? Perhaps your jaw? And then in standing, turn your head just a little bit, left and right, right and left. And can you eavesdrop on this movement all the way down to your feet? And then the next time that you find yourself in middle, just in a very small range, begin to lower your head and bring it back. Small, small, small. Does the shape of your spine change? Is it easier? And then let your eyes open with soft focus and walk a little bit. With your eyes open and with soft focus, just walk a little bit.